Alright, we're going to do a little work here trying to do some progress monitoring. So I'm going to try and show you all how to set up some progress monitoring schedules for your students, okay? So first things first, we got to figure out who we're going to progress monitor. I mentioned last time how to use the reports here, but I want to show you one more time. So we're going to use YSD Elementary as an example here. We're going to go to our grade tab and then our instructional recommendations report, because this is my favorite for actually figuring out who we want to progress monitor. Now, when you look on this report here, what it's done is it's kind of aggregated student scores, their RCBM and their Maze, and it's spit out here who's well below average and who's below average. Now, for the most part here, students are going to score low in both of these assessments. Even though this kid is green, he's still in the 27th percentile nationally. There's only a few exceptions, like this student right here, Nia Williams. Because she's such a strong reader in the 63rd percentile nationally, I wonder if maybe something went wrong with the Maze assessment here. So, we're going to have to make some judgment calls based on, some of the data that we have here and decide who are the students we actually want to progress monitor. You could really just kind of look over here to the right, count up all of your students, and then look at the bottom 25th percentile. But there's going to be some students that are going to be well below average that won't fit into that category, and you may not have the capacity to progress monitor them. So suffice to say, you're going to have to do some thinking and some problem solving based on your own relative capacity for who you can progress monitor and intervene with at your school. But for the sake of today's screencast, I really just want to show you how to get the progress monitoring schedule set up. So we're going to use Christina Robinson here as an example. She's a prime candidate for intervention and also for progress monitoring. Those two things go hand in hand. Because she scored at the 20th percentile locally, which means she's in that bottom quartile of students in what is this, 5th grade? Yeah, 5th grade. And also in the 7th percentile nationally, which is going to bring up a tricky situation for how we actually progress monitor. So I want to make sure I show you guys how to do this. All right, so Christina Robinson it is. We're going to go back to our local, to our AIMSweb homepage here, and we're going to click on our progress monitoring tab. We get to our progress monitoring tab, and in order to add students to the progress monitoring caseload here, we're going to click Manage Students, and this is true for any teacher that has progress monitoring capabilities, which most of your teachers do. We're going to go to YSD Elementary, and we're going to search for Christina. Oh, I don't want to click Enter, I want to click Search. We're going to find Christina Robinson. Bam, there she is. She's already been benchmarked, and we're going to add some progress monitoring for her. Yes, we want to use the Schedule Wizard. Now, couple of things here. First and foremost, we're almost universally going to progress monitor students on the RCBM. Okay, if they're grades 2 and above, that's the one we want to progress monitor them with. Question came up the other day from one of our super intelligent DCIs, and the question was, well, what if we have some low students, let's say 2nd or 3rd grade, that they can't really read words orally on the page very well? Can we progress monitor them in the AIMSweb TEL? And the answer is absolutely. We can progress monitor a student in any one of these assessments. Doesn't matter what grade they're in. It could be an 8th grader, and we could progress monitor in this. We just have to find a benchmark level, so we'd have to find a starting point for them. So we'd have to administer one of these 4 assessments to Christina if we wanted to progress monitor her on that. And of course, for our K1 students, they're primarily going to be progress monitored in either the nonsense word fluency or the letter sound fluency. And that's just because these two are really good indicators of whether or not they can actually read words on the page and whether or not they'll be good, strong, fluent readers when they get older. Okay, so for the most part, it's going to be RCBM, and Christina didn't score dramatically low where she would not be able to do this. So we'll click on RCBM, and then we'll click Next. It's going to tell us to set a goal ending date. You have to set a goal ending date. We'll do 5/27/14. If I entered, a date that was a weekend, it would say no, you can't do that. And you can also click Skip Summer Months here, but I don't even enter goals past the summer months. You're going to do it at least every 2 weeks. If you're more ambitious and at your school you have the capacity to do it every week, that's great. More data means you can make more accurate decisions on whether or not the student is actually making progress. But every 2 weeks is sufficient enough to be able to see whether or not a kid is making progress all year long. Choose the day that best works for you. Some schools are doing Thursday, some schools are doing Wednesday, some schools are doing Monday. I think Friday's a nice day because it's kind of got a goofy schedule, and you can pull some co-teachers out of the classroom on Friday to just knock those progress monitoring probes out real quick. So we'll set it for Friday. We'll click Save. it'll bring us to this page here. Now we'll see all of our students that we have set up, and what we have to do to get them started is enter a survey level assessment, that's what SLA means, or enter their baseline and goal scores. Let me show you what that means. So you click on that, you see these survey level assessments over here. Now, I sent you all a document that looks like this, okay? It's the Ames Web Progress Monitoring Goal Setting Guide. I know it's really long and it's wordy, but if you just look through some of the major points over here, you can get through it kind of quick. Now, I mentioned when we looked at the report that Christina was actually at the 7th percentile nationally. And for students that are below the 10th percentile nationally, we want to set goals for them a little bit differently. So for Christina, we benchmarked her on the 5th grade level, but to set a goal for her at the 5th grade level might be a little challenging for her. Ideally, what we want to do is administer survey level assessments, which I call back testing, to figure out what's a proper progress monitoring grade for her. So what we would do with Christina is we'd get the paper-based copies of the 4th grade benchmark assessments, and we'd administer it to her, and we'd see what she scored on that. Now, ideally, we would want her to score at least 105 words correct per minute. That's kind of the cut score to say that, yeah, this is a decent grade level to progress monitor her at. And the reason is because we want to see students actually making progress, and we want them to see themselves making progress, getting better each week. And if their progress monitoring level is too high, it's going to be too challenging for them, and they may only see, 1 or 2 words every 2 months, which is really not going to encourage them to keep working hard. And it's also not going to give us good evidence to whether or not our interventions are actually working. So we'd administer survey level assessments all the way back to 3rd or 2nd grade or even 1st grade to find out where she meets this cut score. And again, this is right here on your progress monitoring goal setting guide. So wherever she met this cut score, which I think is like the 45th percentile for a grade, that's a grade that we could progress monitor her with. Now these are not hard and fast rules. So if she read the 4th grade passage and scored 98 words correct per minute, could you still progress monitor her on that? Certainly. I mean, AimsWeb does not really give out very stringent guidelines on how to progress monitor. They call it pretty much an art form. Even when I've gotten on the phone and argued with them that we need a little bit more guidance than that, their contention is that we pretty much provide the software. How you use it is kind of up to you. In any event, this is a good guideline to go by. You do not want to progress monitor a student that's reading only 60 or 70 or even 80 words per minute on a 4th grade level, because they're probably not going to make a whole lot of progress on this level. So once we find the level where we want to progress monitor her, let's say we're going to do it at the 4th grade level for Christina because she read, lo and behold, 105 words correct on the 4th grade level. Okay, we'd also enter that in over here, 105 with, let's say, 4 errors. Okay. Now we have to set a goal for Christina too, and I've tried to make goal setting as easy as possible. It will get easier when the new AimsWeb comes out, but for now we have to use this little ROI, or rate of improvement norms table. Now we can see here that for a 4th grade student, and these are very low readers, which Christina is, she's a 5th grade student. So even though we're going to progress monitor her on a 4th grade level, she's a 5th grade student, and 5th grade students that score very low, which is what she did at the beginning of the year, can make between 0.75 words and 1.25 words correct growth per week. Okay, so students that score at the 5th grade level in the bottom 10th percentile can make between 3/4 of a word or 1 1/4 of a word growth per week. Now, Christina may be a really hard worker, okay, and we know that we have a good intervention. We're going to see her for 30 minutes every day, and then her teacher's going to really work hard in small groups to make sure that she's, making adequate progress. So we're going to say that she's going to probably approach that ambitious rate of improvement, okay? So 1.25 words per week. Now, if we have about 30 weeks left of instruction, we'll take 30 and we'll multiply it by 1.25. And yes, I am using a calculator for this because I'm a reading teacher, not a math teacher. That gives us 37.5 words of growth over the course of the year. Okay, so ideally, we would want her to be able to read 37.5 words more now, or more at the end of the year than she does now. So we'd have to add that to the 105. I'm going to round up and say that she's going to read 143 words correct by the end of the year, and we want to reduce those errors to, let's say, just 2. Okay. We'll save it. Now again, if you didn't remember how I got this, you can look here on your guide, and I explain it all right here, how to do the math for it. Okay. So it's really just the rate of improvement times the number of weeks left added to the initial correct. That gives us the goal. So it was 105 initially, 30 weeks left times 1.25 words per week. That gives us 38 more words. So 38 plus 105 is 143. We'll save that, and now we're all set up. And it's as easy as that. We're ready to start progress monitoring Christina. So we can assess her today if we want. And all we have to do is click on Assess Today. The passage will come up. This is just like a benchmarking passage, except that sometimes they randomize the passages here. I think it's best to go in order. So start at passage 4, click Go, and remember this is just one passage for progress monitoring. So whoever is going to progress monitor students in a particular grade, they're going to have to do it for just 1 minute per student. So if you have 20 to 25 students per grade, it's probably going to take that teacher about 50 minutes to progress monitor that entire class, with transitions and all. Okay, we won't actually do this for Christina, and in fact, we're going to delete this because that's not really the case. Alright, yeah, so that's pretty much it to set up progress monitoring schedules. Again, if you have any questions, you email me, email Lori. We're happy to help anytime.